Welcome to the deep dive. We're here to plunge right into some fascinating material and pull out the really potent, actionable insights for you. Today, we are tearing into a book that honestly sounds like it could reshape your whole internal world. It's called "You Become What You Think: Master Your Mind, Master Your Life" by Shubham Kumar. Our mission, really, with this deep dive is to distill the core wisdom from it. It draws from hundreds of sources covering personal growth, mindfulness, psychology, philosophy,
Mhm.
all centered on this fundamental power of your thoughts. We want to give you a shortcut, to understanding how your mind kind of sculpts your reality.
And that's such a great way to put it, sculpts your reality. That really is the core truth here. The book kicks off by stating pretty boldly, our thoughts are the architects of our reality, shaping our perceptions, emotions, actions, and overall well-being. That's a big claim.
It is,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it immediately echoes, Buddhist teaching. All that we are is the result of what we have thought. This isn't just like abstract philosophy. It's presented as a practical guide. How your inner chat shapes who you are, what you do, your destiny, really. And what's interesting is how it immediately connects this to mindfulness.
Right. Not just sitting on a cushion.
Exactly. It's framed as active observation, watching your thoughts, but without judgment. That's positioned as the critical first step. Spotting those automatic, maybe unhelpful patterns, and then consciously choosing to steer them somewhere more positive, more empowering. It's like grabbing the blueprint from that inner architect.
I like that, grabbing the blueprint. Okay, so thought as the architect. A huge part of that seems to be about the present moment.
Mm.
Now, living in the now isn't exactly a new idea. People talk about it all the time. But what's the unique angle this book takes? What's the twist or the really profound application that helps you actually live it, not just think about it?
That's a fair question. It doesn't just say, life is just a series of present moments and leave it there. It jumps right into why we find it so hard. It points out how we're always being pulled back by regret about the past or forward by anxiety about the future.
Yeah, constantly.
Right. So our energy gets scattered. We miss the only place life is actually happening, which is right now. What makes this book's take, I think, quite practical is its focus on action. It quotes Eckhart Tolle, who says, realize deeply that the present moment is all you have. Make the end now the primary focus of your life.
Make it the primary focus.
Exactly. It's not just being aware of it, it's a deliberate choice. So, to actually live this, the book urges you when you catch yourself drifting, dwelling on a mistake, worrying about tomorrow, you intentionally pull your focus back to the task at hand, the problem you can solve now, the progress you can make right now. It's like a constant, gentle redirection, moment by moment.
That constant pull. I think everyone feels that. And speaking of feeling things, you mentioned suffering. This is where it gets really interesting for me. The book uses this analogy of darts to talk about how we often make our own suffering worse. Can you unpack that? What does it mean? And what's the big misunderstanding people have about that second dart? How does the book help us actually stop ourselves before we, throw it?
Ah, it's such a vivid metaphor, isn't it? The book lays it out as one dart hurts enough, but you'll worsen your pain if you dwell on it.
Mm.
So the first dart, that's the unavoidable stuff. The job loss, the illness, the rejection, it just happens. To the pain of life.
Right, this stuff you can't control.
Exactly. Now, the biggest misconception is thinking that this first hit has to lead to long term misery. The second dart, that's the optional suffering, the stuff we add on top. Well, optional in the sense that we inflict it on ourselves. It's the anger, the self pity, the rumination, the what ifs, the worrying about what people think. Rick Hansen nails it. Only we humans worry about the future, regret the past, and blame ourselves for the present. Animals don't tend to do that second dart thing.
Hmm, good point.
So the book helps us catch that second dart by teaching us to first recognize and accept the initial pain, acknowledge it happened, do what you need to do, heal, address the situation, but then, and this is crucial, consciously choose not to layer on all that extra mental anguish.
Easier said than done, though.
Oh, absolutely. But just being aware that you have a choice, that the second dart is optional, that awareness itself is a powerful first step. It's like putting up a shield.
Okay, awareness is the shield.
Mhm.
But how do we actively, control that inner state? Avoid throwing those second darts when we're right in the middle of the storm. It sounds almost impossible sometimes. Does the book acknowledge how incredibly tough this can be? And maybe offer some baby steps for someone starting out?
It absolutely does. It recognizes this isn't easy, which is why it gives practical, incremental methods. The core idea is free yourself from pain by constantly observing your mind and not judging your thoughts.
Hmm.
One really clever technique it suggests is just interrupting your own thought process. When
Oh,
you feel your mind racing, lost in worry or anger, just ask yourself, what will my next thought be? Just asking that question, it creates a gap. It pulls you out of that automatic stream for a second. Like shining a light, it changes your perception.
interesting, like hitting pause.
Exactly. A tiny pause button for your inner monologue. It gives you a little bit of space, a separation from your mind. Another way is to simply listen to those nagging inner voices, but without obeying them. Just notice they're there, acknowledge them. Like Eckhart Tolle says, stay present and continue to be the observer of what is happening inside you.
Just observe, don't engage.
Right. For someone starting out, maybe just try it for a few seconds. You make a mistake, you feel that surge of self criticism. Acknowledge it. Ah, there's that voice. Take a deep breath. And then try to move on without beating yourself up. Don't fight the thoughts, just watch them float by. That separation is the key.
That practice, observing without judgment, that seems to connect directly to this idea of composure the book talks about.
Mhm.
I think many of us get composure wrong. We think it means like bottling things up or putting on a brave face. What
Mhm.
does the book say composure really is and what gets in our way?
That's a critical distinction, absolutely. The book pushes us to quit the eternal rat race and practice composure every day.
Hmm.
And the biggest hurdle, often it's our conditioned reflex to either instantly react to an emotion or to try and shove it down, ignore it.
Yeah, fight or flight, even with feelings.
Exactly. But composure, as the book defines it, isn't about hiding or suppressing. Not at all. Instead, it's about allowing yourself to fully feel the emotion, joy, sadness, anger, whatever it is, just long enough to let it register, to really experience it, but without letting it trigger an immediate permanent reaction or immediately jumping to the next thought or distraction.
So feel it, but don't get swept away by it.
Precisely. It's like hitting an emotional reset button. You accept the feeling is there without letting it define you or dictate what you do next. Anne Frank's quote fits perfectly. But feelings can't be ignored no matter how unjust or ungrateful they seem. The book suggests, give yourself permission to just be with the feeling for a moment. Sit with the sensation. Accept that right now this feeling is here, and that's okay. Then you can choose how to respond.
Creating space.
Always about creating that space between the stimulus and your response. That's where composure lives.
Okay, so we've explored our internal world, thoughts, the present moment, composure. But the book makes it clear thinking differently isn't enough. We have to do differently. And this brings us to habits, which is huge. The book says when you have a new goal, turn it into a daily habit immediately. That sounds vital. But where do people usually mess this up? What are the common traps when trying to bridge that gap between wanting something and actually doing it every day?
That is exactly where so many good intentions fall apart, isn't it? The principle itself, when you come up with a new life goal, immediately turn it into a daily habit, sounds straightforward, but the pitfalls are common. A big one, trying to bite off more than you can chew. We get all fired up, envision this massive transformation.
Go big or go home.
Right. And we try to overhaul everything overnight, which, let's face it, is usually completely unsustainable. The book stresses that the real secret is breaking those grand ambitions down into tiny, consistent daily actions, things that are actually easy to stick with. Jim Rohn's quote nails it. Motivation is what gets you started. Habit is what keeps you going. Motivation fades. Habit persists.
So small is the new big.
Pretty much. If your goal is, say, eating healthier, don't vow to never eat sugar again starting tomorrow. That's setting yourself up to fail. Instead, maybe swap your usual afternoon candy bar for an apple, just that one small change.
Okay.
Or if you dream of writing a novel, don't pressure yourself to write a chapter a day. Start with 250 words, maybe even less. The practical advice for you is break it down into the smallest possible step. Make it ridiculously easy to start. And do that tiny thing at least once a day. Repeat, repeat, repeat until it feels automatic.
Make the starting line easy to cross. I like that. Okay, breaking down is key. But let's be real. Many of us know this stuff like we know we should make habits attractive. We've heard it before, yet we still struggle. What does the book, drawing on James Clear's work, say is the biggest real obstacle to applying these ideas?
Yeah.
And how do we actually push past that inertia?
You've hit the nail on the head. Knowing isn't doing. James Clear's insights, which are featured heavily, offer two key ideas that work together to tackle this. First, it's much easier to build new habits when you make them obvious and attractive. And second, changes that seem small and unimportant at first will compound into remarkable results if you're willing to stick with them for years.
Obvious, attractive, and compounding.
Exactly. The biggest obstacle is often just forgetting or not having that immediate desire in the moment. Life gets in the way. So, to overcome this, make the habit obvious. How? Choose a specific time and place. I will exercise at 6 p.m. in the living room. Be concrete. Then make it attractive. This is clever. You pair the habit you want to build with something you already enjoy.
Like habit stacking.
Similar idea, yeah. Or temptation bundling, like you only get to watch your favorite Netflix show while you're on the treadmill. That uses your brain's dopamine reward system to make you actually crave doing the habit. And this all feeds into the power of compounding. Understanding that habit loop cue, craving, response, reward is vital. It's not about those huge, dramatic transformations. Success, as Clear says, is the product of daily habits, not once in a lifetime transformations.
Small wins add up.
Massively. The book emphasizes that improving by just 1% each day leads to incredible results over time. You're essentially building a new identity through small, consistent actions. So, the practical step for you is focus on tiny daily improvements. Don't dismiss them as insignificant. They are the building blocks of major change, they compound powerfully.
That focus on easy and attractive makes so much sense. And the book then hammers home that new habits need to be both easy and satisfying to really lock them in. Can you give us a clever, maybe less obvious example of that 2-minute rule for making a habit easy?
Sure. If you want new behaviors to become lasting habits, make them both easy and satisfying to accomplish. That's the mantra. The 2-minute rule is fantastic for making things easy because, let's face it, we're wired for the path of least resistance. So, a clever example. Okay, say you want to start meditating. The 2-minute rule isn't meditate for 2 minutes, it's sit down on the cushion.
Ah, just the very first step.
Exactly. Or if you want to go for a run in the morning, the 2-minute rule is put on your running clothes. You lay them out the night before. The idea is once you've taken that tiny first action, inertia starts working for you, not against you. You're much more likely to continue.
Get the ball rolling.
Precisely. And then making it satisfying, this is about immediate reinforcement. Track your progress. Seeing a streak on a habit tracker feels good. Or attach a small immediate reward. Maybe you put aside the money you saved by not buying coffee out, and at the end of the week, you use it for something you enjoy. James Clear points out your outcomes are a lagging measure of your habits. You get what you repeat. Make it easy and satisfying, and you'll repeat it. Repetition builds the habit.
Okay, easy, satisfying, repeat. This all builds towards what the book calls momentum, that snowball effect. I know, but I definitely struggled with losing momentum. You start strong, then life happens. You miss a day, then two. How do we keep that snowball rolling, especially when we hit bumps or just really don't feel like it?
Ugh, the momentum challenge. It's so common. The book offers two key strategies here. Create a routine you can stick to so you won't lose your momentum, and use momentum to push through your limits even if you have to trick yourself at first. Momentum is exactly that snowball rolling downhill. Good habits make the next good decision easier. The absolute key to starting and, crucially, maintaining momentum is consistency over perfection.
Show up, even if it's not perfect.
Yes, just show up. Even if you only have energy for a 5-minute workout instead of 30, do the 5 minutes. Go to the gym, do something that keeps the routine alive. Preserving the habit chain is often more important than the intensity of any single session. Don't break the chain.
Okay.
Then, once you have some momentum, the book suggests using little cheats or adjustments to push past perceived limits. Think of Arnold Schwarzenegger. He talked about slightly leaning back during certain lifts to eke out extra reps, engaging muscles differently. It's modifying to keep progressing.
Like adapting the rules slightly.
Kind of. Or maybe you're a runner feeling tired. Take a slightly flatter route instead of skipping the run altogether. You're still running, still maintaining momentum. So, the advice for you: make your new habit a priority. Put it high on your list. Skipping sessions is the momentum killer. And when you hit a wall, don't quit. Just make it easier for that day. Adapt, but keep moving forward.
That's really practical. Adapt, don't stop.
Hmm.
Now, all this focus on habits, growth, pushing forward, it's great. But the book throws in a crucial reminder, doesn't it? That none of this works if we're running on empty, that self care isn't a luxury, it's foundational.
Foundational is exactly the right word. It's completely non negotiable. Insight 24 spells it out. No good habit will stick if you're not taking care of yourself. This ties directly into Stephen Covey's famous sharpen the saw habit from the 7 Habits. It's about self renewal, self care.
You can't cut wood with a dull saw.
Precisely. You can't keep building habits, pursuing goals, showing up for others if your own energy tanks are depleted. The book talks about needing to regularly replenish 4 key areas: your emotional well being, your mental clarity, your spiritual connection, and your physical health. This isn't being selfish, it's essential maintenance to be effective.
So what does that look like practically?
It means consciously scheduling self care. Don't wait until you're burned out. Maybe it's 15 minutes of quiet time or meditation before work starts. Maybe it's dedicating one evening a week purely to rest, healthy food, a hobby you love, journaling, whatever fills your tanks. It's about proactively recharging so you actually have the energy and resilience for everything else you want to do.
Okay, sharpen the saw. Got it. So we've covered our inner world, building habits.
Mhm.
But what about when the chaos is external, when the world feels uncontrollable? The book brings in some ancient wisdom here, right? Stoicism and how it helps us find peace even when things are totally out of our hands.
Right.
How does that work? How does Stoicism help with that feeling of, well, powerlessness?
That feeling of powerlessness. Stoicism tackles that head on. It offers immense clarity, I think. A cornerstone Stoic insight is know what you can control and what you can't. Seems simple, but it's profound. That feeling of being out of control usually comes from us trying to manage things that are fundamentally unmanageable, other people's opinions, external events, the past, the future.
Things outside ourselves?
Exactly. Stoicism teaches that the only thing you have absolute, complete control over is your own mind. Your thoughts, your judgments, your reactions, your choices, everything else, it's external. It's ultimately beyond your direct power. The story of Epictetus is so powerful here. He was born a slave, faced incredible hardship, yet he found mental freedom not by railing against his circumstances or seeking wealth or status, but by radically accepting what he couldn't change and focusing intensely on what he could, his inner responses, his integrity. His famous quote captures it. There is only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying about things which are beyond the power or our will. Stop fighting unwinnable battles. So, the transformative advice for you is to consciously practice distinguishing what's truly mine to control, my response, what's not, pretty much everything else. By accepting what you cannot change, you stop wasting energy and find a kind of peace, freeing yourself from those anxieties that would otherwise keep you trapped.
That's powerful. Accepting what you can't change. And that connects, I guess, to how we relate to stuff, to material things. In our world, which is so focused on consuming, the book warns that identifying too closely with possessions can actually make us suffer more. What's the core idea? And why is it so hard today to let go of that attachment?
You're right, it's a massive challenge in our culture. The book puts it starkly. We can reduce suffering in life by not associating ourselves with material objects. It draws inspiration from traditions like Buddhism, where letting go of attachment is key to peace. The core idea is that when we wrap our identity up in things my car, my house, my phone, my clothes, we set ourselves up for suffering.
Because things are
Nope.
temporary.
Exactly. Everything material is impermanent. Things break, get lost, go out of style, we lose them. If our sense of self is tied to them, then when the thing goes, a part of us feels like it's gone too. That's suffering. The challenge today, we're constantly bombarded with messages saying the opposite, that what you own is who you are, that more stuff equals more happiness, more status. We internalize that my and I connection to objects.
So, how do we fight that?
The book suggests cultivating a healthier sense of self by consciously practicing detachment. It doesn't mean you can't enjoy things, but don't let them define you. A very practical starting point, it suggests, is decluttering, physically getting rid of stuff you don't need. It's not just about tidying up your space, it's a way to practice letting go, to consciously separate your identity from your possessions. It helps regulate that sense of self.
Decluttering as mental hygiene. Interesting. Okay, the book also brings up that famous parable, Who Moved My Cheese, to talk about change and fear. Many of us know the story, the mice adapt, the little people resist. But what's the deep psychological reason we act more like hem and haw? What stops us from just being like sniff and scurry? And how does the book help us take that scary first step?
Ugh, who moved my cheese? It's timeless because it captures such a fundamental human struggle. It illustrates two key insights. Nothing lasts forever, so keep your eyes open for approaching changes, and our fears hold us back, but confronting them is easier than we think. The main psychological barrier stopping us from being like Sniff and Scurry, the adaptable mice, it's usually a combination of fear of the unknown and sheer complacency.
Getting comfortable.
Exactly. We find our cheese, our job, our routine, our relationship, and we get comfortable. Even if it's not perfect, it's familiar. The thought of going back out into the maze to find new cheese is terrifying. Like hem and haw, we resist. But the book reminds us change is the only constant. Resisting it just prolongs the pain when the cheese inevitably runs out or moves. Spencer Johnson's quote is spot on. What you are afraid of is never as bad as what you imagine. The fear you let build up in your mind is worse than the situation that actually exists.
The anticipation is worse than the reality.
Often, yes. So, how does the book help? First, it encourages acceptance when change happens, especially painful change. Don't fight reality. Then, it advises you to actively look for signs of change, to anticipate it rather than waiting to be blindsided. Be more like Sniff and Scurry, always checking the cheese supply. And crucially, to overcome the fear, take the first step. Just one difficult step forward into the unknown. The book assures you it's rarely as bad as you fear, and it always gets easier once you're actually moving. Action dissolves fear.
Action dissolves fear. I like that. Okay, now shifting slightly, what about our own thinking process, our beliefs? The deep dive touches on Daniel Kahneman's work and then Adam Grant's. Together, they seem to suggest we're maybe not the rational creatures we like to think we are. How do these ideas help us become, well, better thinkers? And can you give a simple, everyday example of when our fast thinking might mess us up, especially with something like money?
This is such a vital area for self awareness. It's why the book delves into Kahneman's. Our behaviors are governed by two systems of thinking, and Grant's plea that we should all welcome being proved wrong. Kahneman System 1 is that fast, intuitive, emotional thinking, your gut reaction, slamming the brakes, feeling instantly drawn to a sale sign. It's efficient but prone to biases. System 2 is the slow, deliberate, analytical thinking, weighing pros and cons, doing calculations, solving complex problems. It takes effort.
This one is the default, right?
Largely, yes. Kahneman points out System 2 believes itself to be where the action is, but System 1 is the secret author of many of the choices and judgments you make. System 1 runs the show more often than we realize. An everyday money example. You see a limited time offer sign. System 1 kicks in fear of missing out, FOMO, urgency. You buy something quickly without engaging System 2 to ask, do I really need this? Is it actually a good deal? Can I afford it? That's System 1 leading you astray.
Guilty as charged.
We all are. So, rational thinking means consciously engaging System 2, especially for important decisions, guiding our thinking with logic and evidence, not just impulse. And this leads straight to Adam Grant's point. He says, a hallmark of wisdom is knowing when it's time to abandon some of your most treasured tools and some of the most cherished parts of your identity.
Hmm.
We get attached to our beliefs, our ways of doing things. We resist changing our minds because it feels like admitting we were wrong or even threatens our identity.
But that stops us growing.
Exactly. Real progress and wisdom come from actively questioning our assumptions, seeking out evidence that contradicts our views, not just confirms them, being willing to revise our beliefs. So, the advice for you: be aware of System 1's influence, especially with emotional decisions like money. Step back, engage System 2, use reason, and actively practice rethinking. Look for information that challenges you. Test your assumptions. Maybe even schedule a regular life checkup. What beliefs or habits aren't serving you anymore? Be willing to be wrong. It's a strength, not a weakness.
Be willing to be wrong. That's a tough one, but important. Okay, as we move towards wrapping up, let's talk connection. The book hits on something that feels very relevant today. Why so many of us feel lonely, even though we're supposedly more connected than ever through technology. It seems paradoxical. What's the core reason for this disconnection?
It really does feel paradoxical, doesn't it? And the book offers a powerful insight. We can't connect to others if we are disconnected from ourselves.
Hmm.
The core reason it suggests is that our hyperconnected, fast paced world often encourages us to escape from ourselves. Social media, endless notifications, constant work. They can become ways to avoid sitting with our own thoughts and feelings, especially the uncomfortable ones. We're constantly looking outward, consuming external noise.
Distracting ourselves from ourselves.
Precisely. And the deep irony is that genuine, meaningful connection with other people requires us to first be comfortable and connected within our own inner world. We need to be able to listen to ourselves before we can truly listen to others. Thich Nhat Hanh puts it beautifully. When we come back to ourselves and take refuge in our inner island, we become a home for ourselves and a refuge for others at the same time.
Become a home for ourselves.
Yeah. So if you find yourself reaching for your phone or turning on the TV mainly to avoid silence or difficult feelings, the book gently suggests taking a break, maybe a digital detox for a weekend, maybe temporarily deleting distracting apps. Anything to help you turn inward and reconnect with yourself. That inner connection is the foundation for authentic outer connection.
That's a profound challenge. Become a home for ourselves first. The book then takes the idea of love and expands it, doesn't it? Beyond just romance into something much bigger.
Yes, it really elevates the whole concept. It teaches that love is made up of joy, equanimity, compassion, and loving kindness, and importantly, that mindful love and connection heal our hearts.
Ugh.
So it moves beyond just attraction or finding the one. True love, in this view, involves several key elements: experiencing and sharing deep joy, Cultivating equanimity, that sense where the boundaries between you and the other soften, their happiness becomes your happiness, their suffering, your suffering. Developing deep compassion, truly understanding another person's struggles, and actively practicing loving kindness, using mindfulness to genuinely wish and work for others' happiness.
Compassion as understanding suffering.
Right. The book mentions the Sanskrit word karuna, which embodies this act of compassion, doing everything you can to help alleviate someone's suffering. It turns partners, friends, even family members into potential healers for each other. Thich Nhat Hanh again. Understanding someone's suffering is the best gift you can give another person. Understanding is love's other name.
Understanding is love's other name.
Wow. So the takeaway for you is when you feel joy, share it. And in your relationships, actively try to understand the other person's pain. Be willing to be a healer, to ask for help when you're hurting, and to offer support when they are. It's about that deep presence and mutual care.
Beautiful. Okay, finally, our deep dive reaches maybe the biggest question of all: finding meaning in life. The book draws on Viktor Frankl's almost unbelievable experiences during the Holocaust to deliver a message about this that's, well, it's powerful, but maybe a bit daunting too.
It is perhaps the most profound and maybe challenging insight. Finding the meaning to your life is your own responsibility. Frankel's experience in concentration camps, facing the absolute worst of humanity, led him to a crucial realization. While everything else could be taken away, freedom, dignity, loved ones, one thing remained: the ultimate human freedom. The freedom to choose one's attitude in any given circumstances, to choose how to respond internally, even when external choice is gone. The book uses the analogy of chess. There's no single best move in chess that works for every game. Similarly, life doesn't come with a pre-packaged universal meaning. It's not something you find like a lost object. It's something you create
Create through choices.
through your choices, your actions, your responses, the values you live by. Frankel himself found meaning even in the camps by choosing his attitude, by holding on to the memory of his wife, by finding purpose in observing human psychology under duress. His words are incredibly powerful. Everything can be taken from a man but one thing: the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. So, the book's ultimate call to action for you is to embrace this responsibility. Don't wait for meaning to find you. Take control. Prioritize what matters to you. Live fully in the present, making choices aligned with your values. The power to forge meaning is entirely yours.
Wow, okay. That's a lot to process from this deep dive into you become what you think. So, boiling it all down, what's the big picture takeaway for our listeners?
I think the big picture is that this book offers a really practical blueprint for intentional living. It shows how, by consciously working with our thoughts, by building positive habits piece by piece, by learning to navigate change, and by fostering deeper, more mindful connections, we genuinely do become the architects of our experience. It's a powerful reminder that real lasting change usually isn't about some massive overnight earthquake. It's about those small, consistent, intentional shifts inside us that gradually reshape our inner world and as a result, our outer life too.
Small shifts, big impact. Architects of our reality. That's powerful. Okay, here's a final thought for you to chew on, something provocative that connects a couple of the insights we touched on. If, as one insight suggests, happiness is a human construct and it doesn't really exist in some permanent state, and if, as Mark Manson suggests in another insight, dissatisfaction and unease are inherent parts of human nature and necessary components to creating consistent happiness, then what if? What if the constant, relentless pursuit of happiness is actually the biggest thing getting in the way of finding a truly fulfilling, meaningful, and purposeful life? Something to ponder long after this deep dive ends. That's it for this deep dive. Join us next time for more nuggets of knowledge and surprising facts.